with the first pick in the 2023 NFL Draft.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us again. We are your hosts, Brad and Kyle. We are returning to bring you all things football all the time. Kyle, there's been a lot of exciting football going on at the Combine this last week. It's crazy to think that this time last year we were there in person. What was your favorite part about that trip?
That's a good question.
Surprise, I made a little splash.
I think just obviously we aren't scouts or anything, like that's pretty clear. But I think it was fun just to even go and kind of not pretend, but this was for our podcast. So look at guys and rate them and see them in person, see them fly around. It really felt like you were having fun, but also kind of felt like a little bit of like a business trip. So I think that's kind of fun for a lot of people that do these kinds of podcasts and, write for a living. They get to do these things for work, but also it's fun for them too. So I think kind of like that.
For sure. Was there a certain moment, a certain player? Was there anything that really stuck out to you that you were like, whoa, I can't believe we saw that, we did that?
I liked seeing all the Penn State guys give me, waving to me. You got your Will Reichard shout out.
I did, yes. I got Will Reichard to say "Roll Tide" to me. That was super enjoyable.
And the NFL did, they shouted out what our favorite college team was, and I said Penn State, and they did say that, I think, on air. So
they did.
They never showed my face. At least I got my.
We were more so there in like spirit to the NFL. Like they didn't actually say our names, but we were definitely there in spirit. I think for me. Chris Carter throwing the football to the kid was really cool. I threw that because that was super neat. Being there in person, we don't have a video because we were actually living in the moment. And I'm not even mad about that because it was just so baller. Was us being there for Xavier Worthy breaking the record. That was electric. And when I say that stadium just exploded, it's everybody got out of their seats. It was a fun moment to be there for, be a part of Combine history and NFL history, really. I do have to go back to the previous slide. Two of the things that I really, really enjoyed was we got up on the screen quite often, which was really funny. There's more of those pictures. I only put a few up there. I enjoyed that we were on TV. That was really amusing to me. I couldn't find a picture. I think you have it. I have a picture of the Ravens 2012 championship ring. I didn't put it in here, but I know you have the Eagles 2018 one as well somewhere. But dude, it was just awesome. I loved it. I loved that. For those of us that weren't following our podcast at that time, we shared 40 times live as they were happening at the Combine. So if you didn't have access to watch the Combine, didn't matter. If you were our fan, we were sharing 40 times with you and videos. They weren't the greatest. We know what to do for next time, but we just wanted to be able to share part of the experience we had with you guys. So as always, really appreciate your guys' support. It was really fun to be there, and we're going to do it again. So look out for announcements. I'm sure we'll talk about that soon. All right, Kyle, buddy, this is some of our favorite stuff to talk about. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Perfect. Because good evening. This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying B&K Airlines. We hope you enjoyed your stay in Indianapolis. We are departing here in the next 5 minutes and heading to Miami, where it is a balmy 76 degrees. Bear with us. We are expecting some turbulence, but we will get you there as best as we can. Kyle, we have a few passengers from the Combine today. Let's talk about who we think did well and is soaring, or who did poorly and is plummeting. Who is our first passenger?
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. Our first passenger is Tate Ratledge, the
Oh,
guard out of Georgia.
for sure.
Big number 69 there. Love to see it. Listen, Georgia has put out a lot of offensive linemen recently in the NFL, and I don't think Tate Ratledge is going to be any different here. He posted some really good numbers in his combine: 4.97 40, 172 10-yard split, 32 vertical jump, 9.5 broad jump, 7.38 3-cone drill. He's a two-time All-American, 6'6", over 310 pounds. I don't think we've talked about him a lot, or maybe really at all, maybe once or twice in one of our mocks, but I think he is a guy that can slip into the second round. Guards and centers are not really talked about a lot, We talk about these premier positions at tackle. We talk about tackles who, maybe they can slide into guard, or maybe once every year there's this elite center that comes out like a Linderbaum, right? Or a Cam Jurgens or Travis Frederick years ago, but it's rare where we talk about guards like this. So I think he's a sneaky, really good player. It's just NFL doesn't always really value guards. So I think we're going to see him sneak in the second round, and his combine performance really shows me that there's more to see on the tape. And I think, with Georgia's recent history and getting these linemen to the NFL, I think he can be the next guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So based on his performance, would you say he is soaring or is he plummeting?
Yeah, he's soaring for sure.
Whoa, oh, sorry about that back there. Hang on to your lunch. So sorry. We're trying to avoid that turbulence. It looks like we're going to write out here soon. Kyle, who is our next passenger?
Yeah, so Tate Ratledge overall had a 998 relative athletic score. This next guy, not so much. Tyler Booker is our next guy. Listen, I love Tyler Booker.
Me too, but I got to find him.
I think he's one of the best guards in the draft. Again, guards, do we talk about guards a lot? No. But he's the kind of guy that every NFL team would love to have. But based on his athletic scores and what he did at the combine, I don't know if our listeners know, but the relative athletic score kind of just gives us an overview, a pretty easy overview of hand size, arm length, height, weight, speed, bench, and all the different composites, all the different splits and drills at the combine. And it gets it to a kind of cumulative score. And the highest you can go is 10. Tyler Booker had a 3.93, and the last person to have that low of a score drafted in the first round was Dwayne Haskins, RIP. Not a lot of these guys make it in the first round who have that low of a score. Now, is guard a position where you need a crazy athletic guy? No, and I would argue, other than kicker and punter, that's probably the least athletic position that, you don't need to be insanely athletic for guard. You're not really moving around a lot unless you have a scheme where you get your guards on the move and do a lot of stretch plays, pulls, get your line out in space. So that I would say, based on his score, based on all of the drills that he did, I would say he's gonna go lower and lower based on, again, the guard not being a popular position in football, and also based on his athletic scores.
So I can already kind of feel where this one's going, but is he soaring or plummeting out of the combine?
Oh, he's plummeted for sure.
Terrible. So sorry. We're gonna write out here in a second. Well, maybe we should get to our next passenger then.
Oh yeah. So this guy, if we're flying to Miami, you should know Jason Taylor. He has a son, and it's Mason Taylor, tight end from. Or is our next guy or no?
It is. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, Jason Taylor's son, Mason Taylor. I think he is the nephew of Zach Thomas as well, which is kind of weird. Tight ends, there's plenty of them in this draft, right? Plenty of them at the combine. One of the deepest tight end drafts, one of the deepest running back drafts we've had in recent years. Mason Taylor is no different to it. 6'5", 251. He's long, he's lanky, but he's big. He's a willing blocker. He didn't do any of the drills at the combine, but when I watched the position drills, I thought he really stood out. And also kind of coupling that with a guy like Harold Fannin, Gunnar Helm, who we might talk about too. Some tight ends didn't really show out.
No.
Some of them didn't work out, right? The top two didn't work out. The next two didn't really show out. And Mason Taylor is right in the middle. He worked out a little bit, and he looked really good. So he didn't really hurt himself at all.
No.
But I thought he really, took it on the chin and said, okay, I'm not going to do any drills, but I'm going to do my best to show what I got. I think he's the kind of receiver who can, line up maybe in the slot as a Y kind of player at tight end, but he's also a willing blocker, a guy that can do a lot in the run game as well. He looked the part. He looked fluid. He catches the ball well. I think we could see him go on early day 2.
For sure. And I think just based on the way that he played in LSU, he never really had to be the guy. And I think he'd thrive well in an offense where he didn't have to be the number one option. That's kind of how, he's a very good Robin. And, everybody can find a Batman, but sometimes you can't find a good and willing Robin. And I think Mason Taylor could really fit that bill for a team. So, soaring or plummeting?
Oh, he's soaring for sure.
Oh, yeah, he certainly is. I think a lot of what you said too, bloodlines, for whatever reason, sometimes they matter. And he's got the size. Size you can't coach. So go figure.
Next, who do we have? Is it Mr. Caleb Johnson? Is that who's next?
Yes, that is correct.
All right, Caleb Johnson, running back out of Iowa. He's a running back, and again, I talked about all these running backs. This is one of the top classes we've had.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I need to see a little bit more out of him. He ran slower than I thought he would. I don't think he looked that fluid. He looked kind of tight. Many of the running backs impressed me more than him. Quinshon Junkins, Travion Henderson, Omarion Hampton. All those guys, I think, maybe like a few weeks ago, we had Caleb Johnson pretty high. I think all three of those guys could jump him and go before him. I could honestly see that.
Yeah.
NFL loves freaks, right? And they love big running backs. Like, they don't hate big running backs. They like to be physical, obviously, especially when it comes to playoff time. But you look at the elite running backs in the league, the ones that are lighting up the scoreboard, the ones that are lighting up the highlight plays. It's Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley. It's these guys that are freaks and also home run hitters. I don't know if he is that, and I think based on the testing numbers, he didn't look all that exciting to me. And I'm not saying he's not bad. I just need to see more, and he needs to be in the right offense too.
Yeah. So is he soaring or plummeting?
I think we're going at an even keel here.
Oh, good. Oh, thank goodness. We've been flying all our passengers really terribly. I'll take this. So that's fine. I do get that he'd be middle of the road, especially because of the performance of some other guys. We might get onto that here in a minute. Who is our next passenger?
Our next guy is Bashal Tutin, running back out of Virginia.
Listen, it's a very tight cabin. I hope he's not tooting. Let's hope he doesn't.
Yeah, he's tiny. He's going to fit. He's 5'9". Now, pretty good weight, 206. I think all scouts, everybody can agree that the height, you're kind of small, but then if you're built up, you have a good center of gravity. You're low to the ground. You got some weight on you. You got some muscle on you. It's hard to get you down, right? It's hard to see you behind your big offensive line. 40-yard dash, 4.32. And at 149, 10-yard split. Listen, we have home run hitters in the NFL, right? Like I just talked about. But a lot of the game is in these 10 to 20-yard increments, right? Yeah. So a 149, 10-yard split's insane. Vertical jump over 40, the best among running backs. Broad jump 10-10, fourth best among running backs. So he has a lot of juice to him. I think he would be a perfect complement, right, to a bigger back. Like if I mean, the Packers have a pretty deep running back room, but
Vikings almost
it could be like if they brought back Aaron Jones, he'd be a good number 2.
good 1-2
I'm thinking of
punch.
like bigger backs, like the Ravens. If they,
Ravens, I was about to say, I'll take him.
if the Ravens, they love Justice Hill, right? They love what Justice Hill provides.
Yep.
I think Bashal Tutin's that kind of guy, a change of pace guy who's quick, who's fast. He could be a home run hitter, but also has the ability to, break some tackles too.
Sure.
He really showed out. Those V Tech boys did pretty well at the combine, I think.
They did. They really did. You know what really gets me here? We know what Ashton Gianti is. We know what Amarian Hampton is. But now that Bashal Tutin is putting out that kind of performance at the combine, people are already talking about Amarian Hampton potentially being a first-round lock. Gianti is going to be a first-round lock. This guy looks maybe not the exact same player, but on par with the talent level. I don't think he gets out of early day two, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see him getting drafted in the 3rd round, maybe. Listen, there's always NFL teams that pick guys ahead of where they should go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Someone's going to fall in love with him. I'm sure teams have already. I think the Seahawks a couple of years ago drafted 2 running backs in the same draft, and now they're struggling to keep DK Metcalf. But here's the thing. Some teams just do that. And I think if they already have a solid piece, like a big guy, a bruiser, maybe that's why I said Henry, a Josh Jacobs. I don't know, whoever signs Najee Harris, maybe he could be with him as like a Jalen Warren kind of type. The Colts with Jonathan Taylor, like you could sell me on getting Tutin as his backup.
Ooh, you know what? The Raiders. If the Raiders did pick Najee Harris, this would be a good compliment for them since they have like no offensive identity outside of Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a Tariq Cohen too. Like this is the kind of guy
I almost said Tariq Cohen. Get out of my brain.
This is the kind of guy I think he could be. It's just, there's I think there's still a lot of good running backs in the NFL that we don't see just because some teams still run the ball. So if he gets on the right team, I think he could do it.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. So I already know what you're going to say, but soaring or plummeting?
Oh, he is soaring.
Yes, he is. Okay, so that makes sense. Who's our next passenger?
Our next guy, you probably can't see him because he's so small and thin. It's Tez Johnson.
I could have made him skinnier if you want.
To be 154 and then run a 4.51.
That was abysmal.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we can't run a 4.51.
No.
Watch our 40.
Hold on now. You keep talking. Give me a second.
But for a guy who's 154, who's sub 6 foot, who runs a 4.51, there's not many guys in the NFL who are productive that do that. Now, listen, he was incredibly productive at Oregon, and the quickness is there. We saw that in some of the drills. But the long speed, if you're not a breaking tackles kind of guy, if you can't run away from people, I worry about the longevity. I think he could still be productive, but I think this is going to hurt him in how high he goes in the draft. Again, NFL teams look for aliens. They look for guys who are just different, who are built different. Tez Johnson is built different, but in kind of the wrong way right now. So,
yeah. So I already know where this is going to go because it's not pretty, and I think we should just go ahead and accept that this one is going to straight up be a plummet. If my computer will work. There we go. He's you can't. I'm sorry. You're 154 pounds. That is 110 pounds lighter than I am now. Would have been more than that when we were at the combine. I've lost a little weight. Okay. I could not run that, but if I'm doing a job interview and I tell people, hey, I'm like really fast and I'm going to be a really good component to your offense, and then I go out there and do that, 4th round, 5th round, that's where you're looking, because people are going to see that and go, this is not I can run like 8 miles an hour and score a touchdown. Like, this is not that kind of league. And I'm concerned for him. I really am. I don't think he's a terrible player, but that's you can't do that. You can't perform like that. Tape or not, you can't perform like that.
Yeah, I just think
Wasn't there somebody last year that did the same thing from Oregon?
probably. I mean, it's hard to say because, like, being that light, there are always outliers in the NFL. Like, there always are, right? Kalijah Kancey a few years ago, we all said, well, he's like below 6'1", below his short arms, below 290. A lot of those guys don't pan out at D tackle. And he's done really well for the Buccaneers. So, like, he can definitely be an outlier. I'm just saying his stock is plummeting because I know that's how the NFL works. They're going to look at that and be like, he's sub 155 and ran a 4.51. I don't want to touch him. So his stock is plummeting.
I love having a nice brain sometimes. I just wish I knew names. Troy Franklin, 6'1", 176 pounds, ran a 4.41.
Yeah, and he had some moments, I think, this year, but he fell. He fell in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't do that. It's going to hurt you. So
next, who do we have? It's Mr. Malachi Starks, the safety, do-it-all safety from Georgia. Listen, akin to Kyle Hamilton, Brian Branch, Cooper DeJean, some of these safeties, they're not as valued in the NFL. These slot corners, these do-it-all kind of safeties, maybe ones that don't test crazily. Like, Hamilton didn't test in insane numbers. Brian Branch didn't. Cooper DeJean waited till his pro day. Malachi Starks didn't impress me at the combine. I'm not saying it was terrible. I'm not saying it was bad. But I think with these kind of guys, if they don't test out the gym, and then they are that kind of slot combo nickel corner, even though that is a very important position in today's NFL, it seems like the NFL has not learned their lesson. So I think the tape doesn't lie. I think he's a really good player. I just need to see a little bit more maybe at his pro day to get his stock at the end of the first round. Because right now I think they're going to bypass him, say screw it, and he'll go in the second round and be a steal for literally anybody in that second round.
I'm telling you, like, I don't really want to be like the mean person here, but like tape doesn't lie, and there's nothing wrong with being a great player, but the NFL is not for great players. The NFL is for elite players. If we took all the great players in college football, be a lot more guys in the NFL. But this is about being the best of the best. This is about being, and we've seen guys that have gotten in there that were good. We're good. I mean, dude, look at the whole Patriots wide receiver room. They were all good in college. They were all great. Then they got there, and there's a difference between college ball and pro ball. But that's not me saying Malachi Starks is the worst person ever. I just feel like we need to see more growth. We need to see more from him. We kind of gave that one away a little bit, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, but that's what the NFL is. Like, it's a job interview, and you're showing up to prove that you're better than thousands of other dudes. And if you're not impressing at that level, it's going to show when you come to draft day. It is.
Yeah, and not Stark specifically, but there's some more guys on this list that
let's
echo that statement. So he's even keel right now. The plane is doing well. Next we have Kyle Kennard.
Save big money at Kennard's. Okay, sorry. That's all I could think of when I was writing this. Go ahead.
He's touted for his size, defensive end. He's 6'4", 250. I'm just a little confused on what kind of player he's going to be. He didn't test extremely well, ran a below a 4.7. I don't think he has the greatest repertoire. I don't think he has the greatest moves in the world. I'm concerned about his quickness. And not that he performed horribly at the combine or he did such a horrible job. If he did, I would have said he's falling. Spoiler. But I just think there's so many other defensive ends, outside linebackers that performed at a freaky level that those guys are going to rise and he's going to fall. Again, like you just said, great players, elite players. NFL is looking for freaks. You're looking for aliens. Okay, right now listen. They're all better athletes than us, but right now he's not an alien. Like if you look at Izaraku, what he did, not only production wise, but then testing wise, it's insane. James Pierce Jr. The dude shows up in a hoodie at 245 pounds, runs like a 4.47. It's freakish kind of stuff that the NFL is like, oof, I want that on my team. I can fix him. It's like in relationships. I can fix her. I can fix him. The NFL thinks they can do that when they have physical freaks.
Yeah.
They think they can do that. So Kyle Kennard, I think he could be a fine depth piece. I just need to see more out of him. That's partly a me problem. I need to watch him a little bit more. But I just think other guys performed a lot better than he did.
Next passenger.
Next passenger, come on up. We have Jalen Milroe. Yeah, boy. Jalen Milroe. Listen, you might want to close your ears for this next segment.
I know what you're going to say.
Okay. I think he did himself a disservice by not running. Honestly, teams aren't drafting him based on what crazy of a thrower he is. We know his limitations right now.
Yeah.
We know that he can get better. I mean, Josh Allen got better at throwing the ball, but those physical tools are there. I know Jalen Milroe is a freaky athlete. He has a massive arm, but teams are going to want him based on the potential of him being that dual athlete and a thrower, runner and a thrower. I think he could have put on a show and really got some teams talking about him. And again, thinking about, I can fix him. I can get him better at throwing. I can get his mechanics better. He can be a really, freak athlete for us. I think he could have put on a show. And I think, his athletic ability does shine on tape. But I think it could have shown out live on TV and live at the combine. And I think you could have had teams kind of like
chomping at the bit. Yeah. My only argument, and I'll say why he didn't run. If you go back and you look at the best plays of the season from him, they were all running. Very few throwing. I think what he wanted to do was he knows he's not going in the first round. He knows he ain't going in the first round. I think teams are afraid he's going to be Jamarcus Russell 2.0. But then there are other teams that look at him and say, he could be Jalen Hurts. And I think Hurts' biggest, and still is, his biggest criticism is, can he throw the ball? And I think if you're Milroe, I saw some of those bombs he was slinging out there. That's what you want to show teams is, I can do this. I may not be perfect, but I can do it. I can put it out there without making the receiver stop. Like, I can place it where it needs to be. So while I agree with you, I think if he had ran, we would have been talking about him in the first round. But I don't think he needed to. I think he needed to prove that, because, look at the interceptions. Go back and look at the interceptions he threw this year. There was maybe one or two that weren't his fault. Outside of that, bad timing, bad underthrows, and a lot of that was our O-line sucked, but it shouldn't have sucked, but did. Don't even get me started on that. But I think for what he could bring to the table, I agree with you. If he had done both, he probably would have won the combine for quarterbacks, but he didn't. So I agree with you. He's middle of the road, but I think people are afraid he's going to be Jamarcus Russell 2.0.
Yeah, I just need to see more out of him. I need to see what he can do. I need to see him be able to get better. Like, maybe he took some coaching at the combine. He brought it in. Next time at the pro day, he shows up and he performs better. Like, if you can do that, teams are going to be like, okay, like, this guy has the will, the want to get better. Let's take him. So right now, Jalen Milroe's at a steady, even keel pace on the plane. Need to see more out of him. Our next person that we have up, come on down, Isaiah Bond. This is going to be quick. Listen, bragging about setting a new record and then running a 4.4, it's going to put you on this list. Not the thing to do. He was quiet down the stretch of the college football playoffs, didn't do a thing. His hype is derailing quick. Golden, his teammate, soaring. I didn't put him on this list, but he's soaring. Yeah, and he runs good routes, catches the ball well, tracks it well.
He's going to the first round.
Isaiah Bond, to me, right now, kind of seems like a Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee a couple of years ago, who got drafted by the Giants and who's done nothing.
Speed, but nothing else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Ouch.
but in the right system, yeah, maybe. But 4.4 is not going to wow people, especially if that's what you do the best. So
that wasn't very quick. I can make that a lot quicker. Trash. Moving on. I couldn't stand his attitude at Alabama, and it just carried over to Texas.
That's right.
Like,
That's right.
You see what happens when you go somewhere else. The grass isn't always greener. Now look at you. You're plummeted. Sorry back there. Sorry. Turbulence. We're working on it. Kyle, let's get to our next person so maybe we can even this out a little bit.
Maxwell Hairston, the corner out of Kentucky. 5'11", 183, redshirt junior out of Kentucky. Missed about 5 games this year. But at the Combine, he put on a show. 4.28 40, 39.5 vert, 10.9 broad jump. Listen, we mentioned him a couple times, maybe being a sneaky late of the first. I think he's going to creep up in the first. I think if you look at needy teams, the back half of the first round, I think like the Bills, I think that would be a perfect spot for him back of the first. I think with those athletic testing numbers, man, he could do so many good things for those teams. Not many corners perform like this. Impressive ball production when he's at Kentucky. Again, 2-year starter. 5'11" is not the tallest corner in the world, but many corners exist and do well with that kind of size. So I think in the right system, the right team, back of the first, maybe a team with a really good pass rush. He did a lot of good things at the Combine. I think this is going to have teams go back to his tape, see if they can see that on tape. But he was already being talked about as like a, maybe early second round pick. I think this really just catapulted him at the end of the first round.
It does. I agree with you. And especially when you look at the Bills as a team that's there in the back. I know you need a receiver, but your defense has a lot of questions still after how many years now, Kyle, are we talking about that? Maybe. Might be worth it. We'll see. Lots of people need defensive help, but that's beyond the point. Soaring or plummeting?
Oh, he's soaring for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. Okay. We did Hairston. Who do we got next?
We got Will Howard. Listen, not the worst performance that I've ever seen from
But Kyle, he's a national championship winner. What do you mean?
Yeah, he is. I just don't think he did enough to solidify himself. I look at Jackson Dart, what he did at the Combine, throwing the ball. I look at Tyler Shuck, what he did. This massive quarterback who has like 4 degrees, who ran a 4.6, who's getting the crowd pumped. Like, there are guys who took steps at the Combine to show what they have. I don't think Will Howard did that at all. No. A lot of people, every time, he comes on the screen for Ohio State, this big, physical, imposing quarterback, great size, great athleticism. Okay, I didn't really see that. You didn't show that out at the Combine. And it's not like, I can listen. I'm good. I can take my time. I'm a championship quarterback. I don't need to perform well at the Combine. Like, I don't need to show my stuff. But you're not like a lock on a first. You know what I mean? You're not. Some of these guys, it feels like they're like, I'm a lock first round, so I don't have to show what I got. Like, I don't get some of that. So
he has the same problem that I thought about him during his time at Ohio State, and B, the problem that people identified for Mac Jones, although I'd say Mac Jones is doing halfway okay in the NFL. He is as good as the talent around him. And when he had to prove himself by himself, he couldn't do it. And I think that's the story of the game for Will Howard. Soaring or plummeting?
Well, he's plummeting for sure.
Yeah, that was not good. This next one, this next passenger is a very interesting one. We've had lots of conversations about this passenger.
Yeah, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green. Not the greatest 40 that I've seen from a tight end, about a 4.71. Definitely being talked about, second round pick. But again, with some of these other tight ends, just like I mentioned, running backs, quarterbacks, edge rushers. I think other guys just performed better.
Better.
He is a little undersized, and I don't think he's known for his blocking. I think he showed more of that freaky ability on tape. Like when he played Penn State, he killed them. I think when they played Texas A&M, he killed them too. I think he's a guy that, well, I don't think I saw that all of a sudden he's not an athlete or all of a sudden he's not a good tight end. I just think, spoiler alert, he's gonna fall a little bit just because you have guys like Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo. I think some teams see those kind of athletic, freaky abilities coupled with the size, the strength, the run blocking ability, and those guys could go before him. Especially him being in a small school too. Like Bowling Green's not like this massive school.
I mean, I'd almost take Mason Taylor over him at this point, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't want to view him as like if he's being viewed as a split tight end, just an H-back kind of thing. Kind of like I don't know, Chigagwanku or guys like that who are a little bit smaller, who can kick out a little bit, maybe play some fullback. You don't want to be viewed the wrong way, is what I'm trying to say. And I think because he didn't perform that well, speed-wise, agility-wise, I don't think his stock is going to soar. So.
No, sorry, somebody was chewing on my power cord, so they get to sit with me for a minute. Get up here. You smell like fish. Okay, I don't know how he doesn't eat fish. So we're gonna say Fannin is just meh for now. It wasn't enough to like pull off the Fannin train, but it was enough to say I don't think you're gonna go as high as you.
Yeah, just need to see more. Next, another tight end. We have Gunnar Helm.
Yeah.
I know he twisted his ankle. Okay, I get it. All right, that's fine. You can sell me on that. I just didn't see on film, like when I was looking through some of these tight ends, man, I saw like no athleticism at all. When we talked about the RAS score at the beginning of this podcast, he had a 4.49 RAS score. So his athletic testing's like not great. He is 6'5", but he's under 250, but he's known for being a blocker. You're not going to survive in the NFL being a 240 tight end. Like you're going to need to put on weight, muscle. He didn't create much separation when I watched him. And based on some of these times, some of these numbers, I think that's pretty likely. He's not going to do that at the next level. He just looks kind of skinny. And I don't see much rack ability either. I think personally his stock is plummeting. So,
yes, I agree. He is plummeting. We have another guy on our flight, a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Just the freakiest freaks ever. Shamar Stewart, 6'5", 290 in college. He slimmed down to 280. By the time he got to the Indianapolis, the combine, he was 267. So I don't know what they're doing at Texas A&M. Nick Scorton had the same issue. Nick Scorton was much lighter at Purdue. He went to A&M and he beefed up by like 15 pounds. So I don't know what they're doing. If they tell everybody
steroids.
Steroids. Eat as much as you want. I don't know. At the combine, though, I mean, crazy tester. Jumped out of the gym, elite in all the skills, measurables, had a relative athletic score, RIS, of 9.99 out of 10. At 270, he ran a 4.59, 40-inch vert. This is one of the freakiest freaks we've seen. Listen, it happened with Trayvon Walker. I'm not saying he's going to go number 1, number 2, number 3, but I think based on his testing alone, we could see him all the way up to 8 with the Panthers. Production's always going to be a talking point. When you go to more of these mock drafts, when you go to the draft day, they're going to be talking about, well, he only had 1.5 sacks at Texas A&M every year. And that's not great. Like that's not good. You want to see a lot more production, especially with those kind of God-given talents. But maybe there's something there that we can't see. Maybe he was playing heavier. Maybe that system wasn't great for him. Because all these A&M boys are being talked about at a high level. You just wonder if like it's untapped potential, or it's not a great work ethic, or it was just a bad system.
Sure. Either way, he's going to make people think twice before they pass over his name, which is the whole point. That's the whole point of the combine. So you already kind of said it. I'm going to just confirm it. We are soaring. Now, I will say we're about 10 minutes out from Miami. We are beginning our descent. Let's get to our last two passengers. Kyle, I don't know how you feel about this passenger. I don't really think you like this logo. You tend not to be a fan of this franchise. Let me sell you on why this person is coming back from Indy looking just like the logo there, looking like a dub. Listen, if you can send out a fifth round pick, which we both would say is not exactly a very strong position to be in, if you can send that out and you can get a guy that is a jock of all trades, I thought you'd like that, and with the thought process that maybe it just wasn't working in San Fran, maybe he just, even without the injury, he just didn't care anymore. Maybe a fresh change of pace somewhere new. You can churn a fifth round pick into anywhere near the shadow of that player. You have successfully fleeced somebody. Now, it does come with a lot of risk. I'll give you that. But it's nice to see a franchise that has been okay with being mediocre for a long time say, oh, we actually have a good quarterback. We should build a good core around him. And what was one of the first ways to do that? Look at the Eagles. They made some risky trades. Do you remember all the crap coming out about A.J. Brown when you guys traded for him? Like, everybody was like, he's a problem. He's a locker room problem. He's not going to be able to do it. He's not the guy. Like, he only cares about getting paid. Well, now he has a Super Bowl ring with the Eagles. Like, I'm just saying, sometimes those risky trades end up being exactly what you need. So is it as splashy as A.J. Brown? No. But do I think it has the potential to be? Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say soaring. Okay, soaring.
I would tilt that plane down. Listen, I think that's a cap. I think Debo obviously has insane athletic ability, although coming up from South Carolina a number of years ago. Production hasn't been there recently. Definitely turned sour with the 49ers a little bit. Injuries have happened.
The 49ers also got carried away with, we have Christian McCaffrey. We don't need a guy like Debo anymore.
And I don't mind trading a fifth for him. I think that's fine. And if you have the cap to do it too, like that's, there's not really, other than paying a guy $18 million. That's, that sounds like a risk. The NFL, it's not. It's just $18 million, sure. It's not.
Yeah.
But if you look at the Commanders' core right now, it's Terry McLaurin, who's 30, Debo Samuel, who's coming off an injury, who's 29 or 30. Zach Ertz is 34. Austin Eckler in running back years is 40 years old. So while I think they're talented, and obviously I think they played way above than anybody thought they could, I would just caution that first-year quarterbacks like that who have insane athletic ability, who people haven't seen before, they could come down to earth a little bit next year. Listen, there were some games this year where they squeaked it out. I mean, look at that Hail Mary. Obviously, they shouldn't have won that, but Tyreek Stevenson was chirping off the fans in the corner of the end zone and then forgot his assignment. So
funny.
I would just put some caution out there. Debo's still not a good receiver. He's not. But I do think the positive – that I'm trying to get here, even after all this negative, is that I think Clint Kingsbury could do some fun things with him. That team is, I feel like, based solely on rack ability. Jaden Daniels surveying the field, running around, find someone open, people getting out of their gaps, people getting out of their zones. I think that could work. So,
stop biting my power cord, you idiot. Okay. All right. Yes, I agree. It's not a home run trade, but it's a trade that has some potential to help them win now. Um, Granted, I don't know what that's going to do for them because you still got to deal with the Eagles, but go figure. We'll see. Who knows? Yes, our last passenger is the NFL cap space. It's very nice to see the cap space again. It doesn't travel very often, nor does it get a little bigger. He's been putting on some weight, and look, 2 years ago, cap space was 224.8 million. This year's cap is 279.2 million, which is an increase of 54.4 million. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but there's a lot of teams that were pushing the cap space this past year. That is a breath of fresh air to a lot of them. And I think it'll actually make for an interesting season. I think because this is what's crazy. I'm going to pull some reverse psychology here. I think because you're going to give them more leeway, they're not going to be as crazy with contracts. They're not going to be crazy with contracts. They're going to sit there and say, do we really want to pay this person this much money? Maybe not. We've got more money. We could actually go get this guy instead and do, I'm hoping that's what it causes. Instead, what's going to happen is somebody's going to trade for Daniel Jones, the Browns, and say, well, maybe we should give him $300 million in guaranteed money. What do you guys think? The 10-year contract, $300 million guaranteed, that sounds like a great idea. It's just going to start a whole new cadre of bad quarterback deals. But I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to say this is actually going to be good for the parity of the NFL. And maybe we'll smack the Chiefs in the ankle a little bit so that somebody else comes out of that conference. Anyways, but all that to say, I think it's healthy for the game. I think it's healthy for the league. Yeah, it's more money, but maybe it'll break up some of the stagnation because we went straight out of the Patriots dynasty straight into the Chiefs dynasty. This is not a popular opinion by many. I liked seeing the Eagles win one. I did. Like, there was a better storyline. They haven't won one in 6 years. And before that, they hadn't won one ever. Like, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with it. I also would have been fine with the Commanders. It would have been a great story. A rookie quarterback wins. Just not the Chiefs. Like, anything to create some parity makes me happy. So
yeah, I think this definitely could. Again, cautionary tale.
Yeah,
just because you have money does not mean you have to spend it all.
On one player. Yeah,
or
Browns.
One player.
Talking to you,
or
Cleveland.
spend it on players that don't deserve it. I mean, we're definitely going to see it this next couple of weeks. We're going to see players that some have never heard of getting paid $15 million a year.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a suggestion out there: the Eagles should pay 35-year-old Khalil Mack 2 years, $40 million. So I logged off, and
for what? To give people high fives when they come off the field? Like,
yeah. I mean, Khalil Mack has.
That's kind of what Brandon Graham does, but
yeah. So I saw that. I logged off and took a bath. Just like I'm not dealing with those stupid things anymore. So.
Well, you did get Zach Bond back today, and I was like, I did not expect that. I really did not. I thought he'd go get money somewhere else, but that's great for the Eagles, who are constantly looking for a linebacker. So
you got one.
Got to win somewhere. Anyways, cap space going up. That's a big old soaring. Now, I will say one other thing because I like to say things. So thank you for flying with B&K Airlines. We knew we had to get some passengers to an event, and it looks like we're going to make it just in time. Before we hop off, please enjoy our in-flight movies.
Oh gosh. Oh, look, it says it ran a 4.54. Oh, wait.
I love that your posture was so straight. Every time I watch this, I'm like, it's like, okay, 6.49. I couldn't remember what you ran. So that's pretty good. Got one more for you. I think we should have not eaten Steak and Shake before this because I'm pretty sure that kid could have potentially boat raced me. I started sensing it towards the end and started pushing a little harder.
Oh, kid almost got it.
He almost did. Oof. Yeah, it was a lot closer than I wanted. See, this is about the point where I'm like, no, I'm not going to get crossed up by some kid. Wow, yeah. I'm probably about 294, 295 there.
I don't think we had great finishes either.
No, I had a 6.90. So We did not. Yikes. Thank you for enjoying our in-flight movies. It looks like we are just now arriving to our destination. That's great. We had to drop some people off. Kyle, I do have some extra tickets. Would you like to come with me? And would you like to know where we're going?
Sure. Where are we going?
Excellent. That's great. So let's go ahead here and hop off the airplane. And we're actually going to go to the circus, Kyle. I've had tickets for this for a while, and I didn't want to spoil it. I knew we had to take some guys back from the combine, so hopefully this will be really fun for all of us. Welcome to the Freak Show, Kyle. This is the spot where some of those guys from the combine, they had to perform tonight, and they were some freaky guys. Makes sense that they'd go to the circus after this. Let's go ahead and talk about our first person here at the Freak Show. And that's going to be who, Kyle?
It's Nick Emenwari, safety. Yeah. We mentioned him on our last podcast. If you listened to it, DK Metcalf as a safety. Yep, that's him. 4.38 40, 149 10-yard split, 43-inch vertical jump, 11.6 broad jump, and 20 reps on the bench, all at 6'3", 220 as a safety.
So the crazy thing is I looked so hard to find a comp for what he did. Anything, could not find one. Not at that size. That's insane.
The only one would be close would be like Derwin James, but he's not quite as tall.
Even then, yeah.
So, yeah, if you're a running back, tight end, slot coming over the middle of the field and you see him, good luck to you because he's a freak.
Yep. That's why he's our magician. He is not what you expect at all. And I thought that would fit the bill here. Let's keep things moving. Oh, dang it. They got that stupid clown out here again. Listen, we don't want any massages. We're not going to overpay you for quarterback contracts. Get out of here. So sorry about that, Kyle. Sorry you had to see that. Let's move on to our strong man. Who do we have here at our strong man?
Well, we already talked about him, Shamar Stewart. Just again, that 9.99 RAS score, 257, running a 4.5. Yeah, I mean he's one of the freakiest freaks we've seen. So I think that's gonna get him up the draft boards. Who knows? Who knows from there what's gonna happen? But in terms of NFL freaks, 2025 NFL draft, he's one of the freakiest ones
for sure. I hate the fat ladies. I hate when they come out here. Let me get rid of him. Get off the stage. Get off the stage. So sorry. Sorry, Kyle. I'm really trying to keep all the other freaks out of here. It's a good inside joke. I'll come back to this. There is one left. It is the Fire Eater. Who is our Fire Eater for the evening, Kyle?
Yeah, that's a Jalen Noel. Mm-hmm. And he really put on a show. 4.39 40. This Iowa State has some guys. It has some dudes. 5'11", 200 pounds. I kind of likened him to Amon Ross St. Brown a little bit. He definitely tested better. 41.5 vertical jump, 11.2 broad, 6.82 3-cone, 23. God, he out-muscled Nick Emenwari. That's kind of insane. But, yeah, I think as a slot guy, he could be really good. Just jumped out of the gym, tested well in every single drill. And he's been productive in college, too. 1,200 yards this last year, 820 before that, 500 the year before that. Yeah, he's kind of sneaky. I would look out for him on day 2.
For sure. Well, Kyle, thank you for joining me at the circus for the Freak Show. That is all that I have here. We had a very good trip. I enjoyed the time that we got to spend together there. Listen, guys, we are going to be up here next week with a live mock draft. We're actually going to go all out as a podcast. We're going to take you to the draft. You'll see what we mean. It'll be nice, it'll be tricky, and it'll be a blitz and kick spectacular of a mock draft. You guys know we don't do anything low-key. With all that being said, as usual, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next Wednesday, probably at 8:30. But all that said, thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you next week.